welcome to this week's Talking Codswallop. I am Gemma and I'm back, everybody.
Indeed she is. Indeed she is. And I'm James. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here, which is will become ever more apparent why that's a surprising situation as this episode continues.
Well, it's a surprise to me, everybody, as well. So there we go. We'll find out in a moment. It was funny because I was thinking the other day, because I listen to obviously a lot of different podcasts, and there's so many of them that put so much time and effort into planning things and, you know, going through like almost doing sort of a scripted version of their podcast in a way, you know, to make it really, really professional. It's like me and you turn on the microphone. We have no fucking clue what we're going to talk about.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is that element of surprise. I would say that there is a level of professionalism, honest, wink to the camera with ours. Yeah. But it's one of those seat your pants, let's see how it all goes sort of things. Yeah. And it goes in the bin if it's crap. But to be honest, not many go in the bin at all nowadays, really, because... Yeah, we found our rhythm, haven't we, James? So, which is good. Have. And we've got fingers crossed, we've got a better sound setup through purchases I made and wonderful gifts and purchases you made. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I should also say a big thank you to CleanFeed as well. So if CleanFeed would like to sponsor the podcast and actually allow us to, you know, have a free service completely so that we can like maybe record multiple people, that would be amazing. Yes, please, CleanFeed. You're very good. But it could be a little bit better if you helped us out. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, come on now. We're speaking to big numbers of people, you know. We are. For the future. We are. Yes, exactly. And I don't know if this is going to be a codswallop of yours, but I hear that you've listened to a recent episode by the Chronicles of Podcast. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's, I mean, I was going to, before, just how is your week going? Have you been up to anything interesting? All right. Well, obviously that is a codswallop, so that's good. No codswallop from me. Go on. How are you doing? Oh, okay. Yes, I am okay, thank you. And I don't know really what's happened. I mean, I've done quite a few things because it's been a couple of weeks since the last time you and I actually recorded, hasn't it? So it has. An unexpected journey to Bristol. That was interesting. Yeah. Can't sort of divulge information, but you know, there we go. Yeah, so, but, you know, basically it was to go and get Graham's car. So, that was a fun trip. A very, very tiring trip as well, because it was like 5 hours of driving throughout the whole day. So, that is quite a journey, yeah. Yeah, to do in one day, yeah. Yeah, although if I was ever to come up and see you, it would be probably 6 hours. So that's how dedicated I'd be to you, James. That's real dedication, yeah. You'd have to find like a halfway point and rest and recuperate. Or just fly, I suppose, would be the easiest option. Well, yeah, but look at the price of... we can get on to discussions about flights as things go on. But other than the car and things, you've been up to anything interesting? Not that I can think of. I know I've done a lot of work-related things. Just going to... Sorry. I know I've done like a lot of work-related things and, you know, boring stuff really. So I don't think there's been anything happen, but as we go on, I probably will think about the other stuff. But as we're talking about me very quickly as well, I just wanted to sort of let the salty tadpoles know as well that I'm doing a journey of discovery at the moment. You know, on a serious note, I've decided to do a little bit of counselling because there's a few issues that I've got in the background that I kind of want to get myself sorted and be as happy as I sometimes pretend to be on this podcast, but other time, you know, for the most part, I'm not pretending because I always get to speak to the lovely James. But this is true. Yeah, exactly.
So if there's any weeks where I'm not on, then that is because, I need to sort of focus on me for a little bit. But James is obviously going to be covering me for the best part, aren't you? So
I will do my best.
Yes.
I will do my absolute best to provide the usual wonderful service you would get from Gemma. I can't succeed you. I can only follow in your steps, or something of that ilk is the wording I'm looking for.
Yes, exactly. So you need to pop your high heel shoes on. Not that I wear them, so don't worry, James. Stick on your bra. No, but just to sort of like fill in any episodes, because
yes,
we don't ever want to miss a week, unless we already sort of scheduled it in, kind of thing, like we did a couple of weeks back. But it's just sometimes you just need to know, you need to find out about yourself, don't you? So that's what I'm doing at the moment. But so I'm all right, but I just wanted to let people know that if in the case that I'm not on any episode, I mean, James could make up a story. Like we make up a story, or it was me and Andy used to make up a story saying that James had to deal with his glory hole business, but he's more than welcome to make up a story. But that's the real reason I might not be on.
Okay, well, as long as you're doing the something that will help you, that's always a positive thing. That's always very good.
Yeah.
That's all we can ask for.
Exactly, because it's funny because I was speaking to, this was quite a while ago now, but I was speaking to somebody on Twitter, and I apologise that I can't remember who the person was off the top of my head right now, but I was speaking to him and he said that he had a few issues like with mental health problems. And I said to him, well, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing that? Have you thought about doing counselling? I was giving him all these recommendations, obviously in a friendly way. I wasn't just listing them in the same way that I just did then. But then I sat back and I was like, why aren't I doing any of these things? So, that's what's going on right now. I'm on my little journey to find out who I am, really. So
good.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a good thing that you're doing. That's a good thing you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's pretty much me done. So, see you later, Salty Tadpoles. James will take over from the rest of the week. Or episode, should I say, not week.
Well, I did something today I've never done before.
Today?
I decided, something I've never done before. I decided to go clay pigeon shooting.
Oh, okay.
I've never done before. No, I've always wanted to do, and I got all togged up and got the gun and stuff. And again, it's something I'm new to. And I watch other people doing it, and there's someone there who can train and help you. So I'm all ready. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I get the gun, the gun ready to take my shot. Protectors are on. Instructors there to help me, and we have a problem. They've run out of clay pigeons.
Okay.
Which is not what you want to happen.
Not when you're going to. Yeah, not when you're going to an event that's actually, based on that said thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, not wanting to miss the opportunity to do this, I said, I think I might be able to solve the problem. I think there's something we can use. So they said, okay, what do you think you've got that you can use? So I know they needed something a bit of weight, but that they could use. So I went to my car and I found the perfect thing. I rummaged around and I found the complete picture, the albums 1991 to 2012 of Mr. Chesney Hawkes. The best thing I could find. So, put it in there, fired up, boom, gone. Don't know why I thought of, taking out Mr. Hawkes, box set, but, there's just some reason why I had to do it,
Well, was it because his surname is Hawkes? Is that maybe why?
I think it is that. I think it's also the fact that I want to be the one and only and take out that box set.
So did you actually really do clay pigeon shooting, or is that a fib?
That's a fib. It's because I wanted to bring in the fact, if you don't know what's going on, Salty Tadpoles, one of our, it's the Chronicles of Podcast had the wonderful Mr. Hawks on, and I had sort of tongue-in-cheek posed a question to him, which was, when my hair gets longer, there is a similarity to his hairstyle when it gets sort of really longer on mine, and my hairstyles have been that different over times. I have been called Chesney Hawks. I've been called Brad Pitt. I've had really long hair like Brad Pitt. I've had spike hair like Brad Pitt. It's all happened on styles. But I asked the question, come on, to Chesney Hawks, why don't you have your hair like you used to do, and you and I could create like a hair army together? And he had the greatest. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Because he was trying to be diplomatic. He was saying, well, the age I am, I can't really have hair like that. I'd look like it. And you could hear him thinking, I've got to give a diplomatic answer here now.
I'm not 100% sure I heard the same answer there, really, because I heard the words pleb, I think it was, or plonker, or
he said that. No, you're right. But for a minute, I could see that he would kind of stopped, and he's thinking, what do I respond with? But I hear it all differently to you guys, because I just heard him say this. His 16-year-old son has a haircut like he used to do, which clearly means if I keep growing my hair, I'm going to be down with the kids. So it's all okay by me.
So basically a 16-year-old will be okay with you, but a 50-year-old is not acceptable.
Well, the other thing is, Chesney was saying it's an age thing, but, I'm 10 years younger than him, so I'm all right. All I have to do is when I hit 50, I've got to change my hair. So.
My favourite... Yeah, sorry, go on. I was just going to say my favourite part of that interview, literally hands down, my favourite part of that interview was his answer to this question, but also the fact that, I think you just need to grow up, mate.
Well, what can I say? I'm just clinging to the hair while I've still got it. It's not. Yeah. There are honestly points though when I've had it where it really did look once like his old hairstyle. It's longish now, but it's nowhere near that. But seriously, I was laughing my head off listening to it. And I also obviously recognised that maybe he didn't hear the question properly because he's deaf from, the screaming girls, which was obviously your question.
Because that was my question, wasn't it? So I was like, how is your hearing after hearing all those screaming girls? And that was quite a funny answer as well. So that's definite. I'd love to get Chesney Hawks onto this podcast.
I would. Yeah. I would love to talk to the guy. I've always found his work interesting. Yeah. I also was tempted to set fire to my Nick Kershaw collection, but I thought, no, Nick's not done anything wrong.
No. He only wrote the song.
Yeah. But no, oh God, it made me laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it really made me laugh as well. And just for anybody who's listening that isn't on our social media as well, just to give Jamie and Tom, who are the creators of the Chronicles of Podcast, which we're all sort of laughing and joking here, which, it's supposed to be because it's a comedy podcast, but they have some fantastic guests on as well. And it is always really interesting. So either if you pop over to their YouTube channel, while you're over there, have a little, look for Talking Codswallop as well. That would be great. But, actually look up the Chronicles of Podcast, which I will put the information in the description so that people can find it as well. And also, if you're on Podbean already, and you have a look maybe at the people that we are following, you'll see the Chronicles of Podcast there, so people can find them a lot easier and actually maybe subscribe if they fancy having a good old giggle 3 days a week. So with us. Absolutely. And 2 days with them. So yeah.
Just my final comment on Chesney Hawks. I want to know what his aging secret is, because that guy looks incredibly good for 50. So I need him on for that. Not doing just because the mutual wonderful hair we have. It's more just to find out what has he done to stay so youthful. I'll throw one last thing in actually, which is interesting. He was talking about in the interview that he played universities and had concerns about people not knowing who he is. Mm-hmm. When I went to Hull and I started at Hull University, if I'd been in there for their freshers' ball, so if I'd been like a year, if I'd started a year earlier, I could have attended, say, their freshers' ball, or their end of year ball. And who was playing?
Was it Mr. Hawks?
It was Mr. Hawks.
Ah, I think he also played at my school as well, which, but again, it was, like I'd left the school by then. So I think it was like a couple of years later or whatever after I'd left the school, but I'm not 100% sure though, so I might have to do a little bit of Googling, and have a little look, but we will maybe reach out to him and see if he does want to be on the podcast, but I think we'll let Jamie and Tom have the limelight for a bit as well, just out of courtesy, kind of thing. Just so that, we could, maybe still a little bit of the limelight, Yes.
Yeah. We can't be too grabbing, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. But even if it doesn't happen for us, you still need to go over, like I said, to the Chronicles of Podcast and, just give them a follow and have a listen to their interview with him, because it is just so funny.
Yeah. And just also very interesting to learn about, all his works, his life, and other things. So top guy, brilliant podcast.
Yeah, find out.
I shouldn't sell the opposition, but yeah.
It's all right if one of the opposition actually listens to this podcast, though. It's all good.
Excellent.
Yeah. Because Jamie actually listens to us. It's all good. That's why we're plugging.
Good man, Jamie. Thank you.
Otherwise, if he stopped listening, I'm going to have to take all that bit out. And nobody will know what we've talked about.
Just silence.
Yeah, just utter silence for 17 minutes. I was going to say something else as well, but it's kind of gone out of my mind. It's flown off, just like Chesney Hawks. So what else have you actually been up to apart from doing fake clay pigeon shooting?
Fake clay pigeon shooting with Mr. Hawks record box set collection. Not masses of stuff, but I do have a story of where things have been, which is one of the things we're going to be discussing on the podcast, where things have been of late. But I've not been doing a lot. I've generally just been trying to keep everything together because I've had days where I felt really, really rough.
Yeah.
So it's been very odd on that front, very odd. So
yeah, COVID's getting closer and closer to me. Dames? I was going to call you Dames for a second there. James.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't know who Dames is, but, he must be my evil twin that comes on.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Or the nice one. But no, my youngest niece has it at the moment, and so does her fella as well, so that's not great. They've just come back from a holiday abroad, though, so that's probably how they've got that, from the aeroplane or whatever. And also a woman at work has got it as well. So I was like, oh no. Well, her son has, sorry. But he works at the same place. So yeah, fingers crossed. But on a, for her on a plus side, she doesn't have to go into the office because, there's risk that she might have COVID. So I suppose there's win-win. Or
every
win-lose.
cloud has a silver lining and all that.
Yeah. You know me. I always like to see the glasses half full kind of girl, Yeah. Right, let's get onto some codswallops because I have been dying to know about your codswallop. And I want you to go first.
Well, Mike, So, Mike, is everybody sitting comfortably? I will begin.
I am.
My codswallop is one that goes the length and breadth of things. So, I had to travel to go to a funeral. It was my great aunt, so I had to travel out the country to do that. And there's a whole gamut of things that happened with this. So initially, it was supposed to be me, my uncle and aunt, and my father were going. The day before, my dad rings. He tested positive for COVID. So that's him out the equation.
Yeah.
And he's
just quickly,
great.
Is he feeling better now?
He is, yes. He's pretty much up. He still has like a few little lingering things like a cough, but he's pretty much up to full spec, and okay.
Yeah.
So Aunt and uncle and me go. No major issues. We have to go from Manchester Airport. No major issues going out. Get to Germany. The whole process, the funeral, etc., it goes as well as it can do. And that was all right. So we're coming back and get to Dusseldorf Airport, and we had I think roughly about 2-hour wait to get through to the baggage check. You know, they scan your bags.
Yeah.
So we get through that, and we get into the waiting area, and we go around there and whatnot, and all that stuff anyway. So we get to our gate much later on in the day, and it's the evening at that point, and so we're all sat down waiting, and they moved us to another gate. Okay, so everyone gets up and moves to the other gate. So we're all sat waiting, and an hour passes. So we're waiting for an hour, and then the girl who's there, completely on her own, who I felt very sorry for, is on the desk and basically says, you can now board the flight. So she apologises. So we all board onto a flight, and it's a pretty large Eurowings plane, and slightly different than the ones we'd gone out on. So it's a bigger, different spec. You get on, and I'm chatting to the chap sat next to me, and we're saying there'd been delays and all this. And he's saying, delays are prompt for him. He had to get back to his son who was unwell. And he's looking at the app on the phone. I'd had mine turned off at that point, and he says the flight's been cancelled. And I'm like, and I'm assuming because we're on a much later flight in a different plane, it might relate to that. So I said, maybe we'll get some money. And suddenly hear the stewardess behind me say, I've got some really bad news. And because she was stood really near me. And she says, the flight's been cancelled. And she said, the plane wasn't even supposed to be there. It was supposed to be going to Munich. So we get off the plane, we get all our stuff off, get into the terminal, and basically we then have to go back through passport control. Mm-hmm. And passport control is now a bit of a faff due to issues from Brexit, because instead of sort of going through normally being beeped, you end up queuing and having to get a visa stamp. So we're all there waiting. There's no staff there at all.
So hold on. Just to interrupt. So you were sat on a plane. You actually physically on the plane.
Yep, we were sat on the plane. Yep.
And then you had to go back into the terminal. You didn't necessarily need a visa because you were only actually hopefully going to be waiting there for.
You have to do because you're going back into the country. You've technically been stamped as leaving the country, so you have to get another stamp to show you're going back into the country.
I was going to say, because you never actually left the country in the first place, though.
Nope, but you've been stamped to say you're leaving.
Right.
That was one of the first indicators of problem when we did go into Dusseldorf. You're queuing for a while because we have to get the stamp because of the Brexit kerfuffle, but that's by the by. So after 3/4 of an hour, the staff turned up and they got us through. We then had to go down to get our bags. But the problem at this point is no one had actually told you where your bags were coming off.
Right.
So it's chaos, and people are all trying to find the bags. And I ended up chatting again to the guy being sat near, and he said he was actually going to have to get a car and travel. I can't remember what he said he was travelling to because he had to get back for his son who was ill. So
was he UK based?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we managed to get our bags. But the problem is that all we've been told is, or the only information that got out from Eurowings was, right, you have to book a hotel. Well, you have to get your bags with no information. You have to find a hotel, and you have to take any costs for that and charge them back to Eurowings. So we tried the hotel that's linked to the airport. No joy.
No, because there was already people in there. Yeah.
Yeah. My uncle managed to find tourist the information desk, who told us where to go for the Eurowings desk. Now, around this time, it's for about 10:30 at night. So everything's pretty much, although it's what I'm noticing more in airports now is things seem to be closing. There's less of this 24-hour thing going on that there used to always be. And it was the same in Manchester. You went into Terminal 2 in Manchester and things were closing at 7:30 at night, and that would never, ever have happened before.
No. I can understand maybe like 10:30, but not 7:30. No.
Yeah. But you get, well, normally most airports are 24-hour. There's always something open, but this seems to no longer be the case in this crazy COVID business pandemic craziness world. But we get to the ticket desk for Eurowings, and there's the girl who was on the check-in desk, and it was a point actually raised with the chappie who I've been sat next to, how they just leave these people on their own. So there's her and one other man there, and they're just like representative people. They are the lowest tier of the company. They can't do anything. They basically were telling us, nope, you've got to ring up on your own phone, find a hotel, etc. Any meal, any transport, you can recharge to us. And people, understandably, were having a go at them. It's not fair, but they were snapping at them because this wasn't just our flight. You had people who'd been coming from Paris to businessmen there. They'd had their flights cancelled. So in the run of things, we were actually assisted by a fellow passenger who said you could try the Holiday Inn because I'd tried the hotel at the airport. There was no way you could get anything there. They couldn't recommend anything to us. I tried the main Holiday Inn. They didn't have anything because there was also, you love this, huge conferences going on throughout Dusseldorf, so everyone was booked up.
Oh, for God's sake. Did you go on like booking.com or anything like that?
No, what I did is I actually rang the Holiday Inn Express nearest to the train station, and they had like 2 rooms left. So we got them at a humongous price. Horrendous price we had to pay for them, but we got them. Got taxis to get there, and I think that was around about 11 o'clock at night we finally got there, or just after. But what they basically said is turn up at the desk at 3 o'clock in the morning and you'll be able to
Why couldn't you just stayed at the airport for those couple of hours?
Do you want to sleep on an airport chair?
Yeah,
I
but
think not.
No, not necessarily, but it's almost like what is the point? Because it's like from 11 o'clock at night until 3 in the morning. That's like what, 5 hours? I'm doing quick math there, so that's probably wrong. But it's like hardly worth paying lots of money for a hotel room. And I'm not saying this to you. I'm meaning more towards the hotel, the airline, really. Why are they saying go back at 3 a.m. in the morning?
Yeah, well, what should happen in all circumstances is they have a right as a customer. They should not have done any of this. They should have said, right, we will put you up in a hotel. You can go to this hotel. Here is some money for food. Yeah. Will cover costs, but that didn't happen. So you've got to deal with the hand you've been dealt with. So got to the hotel, actually spoke to my father, who was basically just as unimpressed as we were. Anyway, so about 1:30 in the morning, my knock on the door, and I was awake anyway. My aunt and uncle had an email that said, this is the option we will offer to resolve the problem, which is on Saturday, and this was a Wednesday, we will send you to Frankfurt via train, and then from Frankfurt Airport you can take a plane to Manchester. But I didn't get any of this because there was a problem with my email, which I'd told Eurowings about 3 times, which they'd not rectified. But what they did do was they managed to rectify it enough to keep telling me my flight had been cancelled via the correct email. But anyway, so my aunt and uncle decided to book it, but we didn't do the 3 a.m. thing. We got up around 5. We had breakfast, which was pretty good, went to the airport. So I think we got to the airport around about 7-ish, shall we say. Okay. Went to the desk, and there wasn't a massive queue, but we went to the ticket desk and basically laid out the problem. Because the other thing I haven't mentioned that I had an issue with is I was running out of my thyroxine, which, I need to keep running, to keep going. Yeah. My uncle has health problems as well. So I was honest, I laid it out and said, we've both got health issues, we need to get back to the UK. So to his credit, this guy was really good. He went, right, I'll see what I could do. And he was also mentioned he had to cancel the setup thing that had been booked by my aunt and uncle, which he cancelled. Mm-hmm. So he put me on a flight from Dusseldorf to Zurich, from Zurich to Manchester, but all he could offer my aunt and uncle was a flight from Dusseldorf to Munich, and from Munich to Birmingham, which in itself creates a problem because their car's at Manchester Airport.
Oh, no.
Stay with me here, everyone.
Okay.
What's the other problem we've got in the UK? Trains are on strike.
That was something that I regret, but I was going to say that I regrettably sort of told you. I didn't say the word very well then, but I was sort of like, oh, shall I tell him about the train strike? And I was like, well, I better have just in case. Worry. Yeah, I figured you knew already, but I thought I'd better let you know just in case. Yeah.
So we ran with the options we had. They go to their desk to do their stuff, where you put your bags in and everything and you get your ticket. And I went to mine, but the problem I experienced there is the Eurowings lady couldn't get my passport to go through properly. And so in the end, I just said, right, can you just turn the monitor to me? So she turned the monitor to me, and somehow I said, you want to click this, this, and this, and it worked. It somehow accepted. It was something weird on the passport thing. It wouldn't accept the country of origin. But we got it to work.
So you were an IT expert as well then? Yeah.
Yeah, I am my own IT expert. So then we queued for about, was it 2.5 hours? 2 hours to get through security again, where they scan your bags. But we got through that, and I chatted to people in the queue and stuff. So long story short, my uncle and aunt, they managed to get their flight, get on their flight going to Munich. Great, it goes on time, no problems. I'm left alone wandering around the airport. So I go to what I lovingly now call the holding pen, i.e. the gate, for going to Zurich. And I'm like, okay, bit quiet, but, mainly businessmen, because going to Zurich. Girl comes along and nothing's coming up on the screen for a while to say it's the Zurich flight. And then it pops up, and then she suddenly goes, I regret to inform you the flight's delayed. Now, I'm going to be honest, my heart sunk at this point, because I'm thinking, this seems really familiar to yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, took a deep breath, and I thought, right, I'll just ring my father to tell him what's going on, and you can get on the Wi-Fi at Dusseldorf Airport, but it was a bit crap, and we couldn't hear each other properly. But to my dad's credit, where he's very good in these situations, because what I always say happens with my dad is his old chief exec brain kicks in, and he goes incredibly calm, incredibly methodical, and literally will just go, well, here's your problem, and give solutions, because he's on his computer checking stuff. So he said, right, if it doesn't work out, you'll probably have to fly to Paris. You can fly to Paris from there. If you get stuck at Zurich, Lufthansa, who own all the, all the shebang of Eurowings and all the other flights, will have to offer you something else, because there's a concern I can miss my connecting flight.
Yeah.
With me so far, everybody?
Yes.
Grab a hold. So
I have got questions, though, so we may have to circle back round to a few questions, but yes, carry on.
So the reception is terrible on the old internet-y thing. So I wander off to go back to the gate, and strange, I get really good reception.
I just have to interrupt 1 second here. The whole internet-y thingy, everybody, that is the magical world of Wi-Fi. Okay, everybody, just so that everybody knows what that word is.
It is. It's the magic Wi-Fi created by
the internet. Wobby.
Yeah. So the Wi-Fi was a terrible signal, but you go through, and it suddenly got better at the gate. It must be the position of where that is, near the edge of the terminal.
Yeah.
But there's nothing telling you what's going on. The screen just shows you the flight's still happening. There's no announcement or anything. And I'm on the phone to my dad, because I said, I've got a good signal. So he went, right, well, let's find out what's going on. And I'm chatting to these American businessmen and other people who are there. And suddenly another person turns up and says, the Paris flight's coming, which is the one we'd be on, strangely. You'll be on in 15 minutes. I was like, okay, looks like we've got some movement. Dad, speak to you in a bit. But what gets interesting is it still caused me a problem. It gives me like a 20-minute window to get through Zurich Airport. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we get on the flight to Zurich. Very nice flight. Got to give them marks on this, because I was on a far more superior plane than I would have been. Get to Zurich. Thankfully, I've only got hand luggage, because I put in the big stuff in the hold. I am running through Zurich Airport which is a shame. So I would have loved to have seen Zurich Airport. It's a very nice airport. It's got an Omega dealers in there. It's got a Rolex dealers. It's got nice high-end clothing shops and other things. So I would have liked to have have a look and done a bit of shopping.
Okay, well, we'll raise... we'll start a GoFundMe so that you can go back to Zurich Airport.
Please do. Start that GoFundMe now. But the annoying thing is that, that if I'd taken a minute, because I did look in like the Omega dealers, I was like, I'm running past it. I thought, but if I wait, something will go wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm running along because I have really no idea where I'm going apart from gate D. I don't know the exact area it's going to be, or area D. So I'm like running and I see a screen. So I've got a rough idea where I'm going, but it's like right on the other side of the airport. And it's also then downstairs. So I run down the stairs. Thankfully, I didn't fall over. I've got to go through security doors and you get to the passport control. Okay. Now, thankfully, it wasn't busy, but I'm there waiting. Slightly out of breath, but I'm okay. Anyway, I get to passport control, and this is funny. So I put my passport in front of them, and it gets to the visa stamp section, and the woman had the strangest look on her face ever of like, what? Really? Like, what? Because if you think about it, my passport, the stamps in it, look like the sort of thing a criminal or a drug dealer's going to have, because you've gone into the country, you've gone out the country, then you've gone straight back into the country on the same stamp date. Yeah. So she's really looking at this with some like, what? Anyway, she stamps it. I had to run past an old woman who was slowing me down further steps. Running along, and I get to the correct area, and I was pretty out of breath and a bit sweaty at that point, and I just said to this guy, is this the Manchester flight? Yeah. Anyway, so get on to the thing. I thought you were going to say,
have you got any deodorant?
To be fair, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't that sweaty, but I did at least get a chance to go to the loo and like wash my hands, splash a bit of water on my face, etc.
Yeah.
But the flight itself was delayed by 55 minutes. So I could have actually had a look round stuff, because they queued you on to do like a weird ticket thing where they check your ticket first and got you on. But I've got to be honest, we were on a Swiss Air flight. They're great, they're wonderful, really nice. Give you nice free chocolate. I mean, it is Swiss, so you get the nice chocolate, get some water. It's great on that respect. It's a very nice plane. We get in to Manchester. And to be fair, we must have had a good tailwind that got us there, because we got there in a reasonably good amount of time. And I've been lucky enough that Lyndon of last week's episode gave me a lift, because I'd texted him asking for help. Bit of a queue again to get through passport control, but got the bags, etc. And I got a text off my uncle who said, we've literally just touched down now when I got to Manchester, and he was having to take a taxi, he and his wife, from Birmingham to Manchester.
Oh, God, that must have cost a fortune.
It will not have been cheap.
No.
Lyndon turns up, he rings me up, says, I'm here. The story will come to end in a minute, I promise.
That's okay. Like I said, I've got
questions.
Yeah, I've got
any
questions.
Questions can be asked. Salty Tadpoles can also ask questions as well.
They've probably heard this episode before I've even released it. But yeah.
So Lyndon's saying he's coming to collect me. He ended up managing him to pull over. Instead of going to the short stay car park, he managed to pull over on a bit of road, and I jumped in through the bagging. Where we were lucky we did that is the queues created to get into the car park were unbelievable, and that was like in a 5-minute window. But the chaos had subsided. Lyndon took me back to Skipton. All was well. Apart from the next day I get a text off Ian, my uncle. He's got COVID.
Oh, no.
And then the next day I get a text off him saying that his wife, Christine, has got COVID. I'm still okay. Yeah. So I can only assume they got either the Munich or the Birmingham flight. And we were all so safety conscious. But it's crazy. It's all crazy.
Yeah. That's absolutely insane. And obviously, sorry to hear that your auntie and uncle have got COVID now as well. But I bet your dad was kind of thankful that he got COVID in some ways.
Probably because it kept the stress of all the travel from him. Yeah, I think he probably would have been. But it was it took 24 hours.
Yeah.
Because the time I landed in the UK was the time I think I was supposed to have landed originally. So it was a 24-hour window. But one of the worst things is the people who were at the ticket desk. I heard other people who had their flights cancelled were being told, you've got to pay an extra 150 euros. You've got to pay an extra 90 euros. And if you can't afford it,
no,
you're screwed. You ask, I don't know what you'd do, but...
No.
Well, we got there. It was an experience. We've still not got the money back yet, which I've had some lovely assistance from yourself and other people retweeting, because there's various problems with that, but we'll see if that gets resolved. Any questions?
Yes. I have been sitting here rather patiently. I'm not going to lie. Just save the audio a second so that we don't lose any of that.
Okay.
No, well, did they tell you the reason why the first plane was cancelled? Because obviously, if you were all sat on there, why couldn't you have just taken off? I don't understand.
I can't honestly remember if they told us that time. I know they said the delays for the flights, I think either going to Zurich or coming from Zurich, were to do with baggage issues, the baggage handlers. The baggage handlers being the problem.
Yeah, well, they could have just mailed the bloody baggage, couldn't they?
Yes. You think that there are other options, but clearly, hey, at least we got the baggage. I've heard of other people who've lost all the luggage. So,
oh God, I mean that could be a hell of a lot worse. And what was the other question? God, there was another one that I was going to say, but I've forgotten it now. But I think it was more that I was baffled about why, if you're sat on a plane, that you can't just, sit there for another 30 minutes just to wait for the rest of the luggage to be packed and then be like, okay, everyone, let's go now.
It wasn't, it definitely wasn't a strike, because they said it wasn't a strike. I think it was something to do with, my understanding from what I can remember hearing was it was staffing levels. That's all we were told.
Oh, okay. So somebody got COVID, basically. There's a couple of people that were off with COVID and they didn't have enough people to deal with it. So
God knows. But what I do know is that Eurowings were cancelling flights when you looked at things just left and right and centre. Just mass cancellation of flights. And I do feel sorry for that, because people didn't understand this. The few people I've mentioned this to, some of them are like, why do you feel sorry for the staff? And I'm like, because the staff, it's literally the frontline staff. They have no control over this, and they're just being wheeled out to take the abuse off people. Because I know the girl who's on the Zurich desk, I went back, I was very pleasant to her. I didn't get angry, because I know it'd get me nowhere. But I know when I went back to see her the second time, because I did say to her, is there anyone I can talk to? Is this definitely going to go ahead? Is there anyone above you I can talk to? Medically, I got to get back there. And she said, no, I'm sorry, there's not. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But when I went back in, she looked pretty, I don't know if someone had had a go, she looked a bit sort of tearful. But yeah, these poor buggers, they're stuck on the front line taking the grief, and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah. So, no, I can completely understand and see where you're coming from with that. Because I would also feel very sympathetic for the people on the front desk as well. Because I've been, so not in an airline, but, I've been a hotel receptionist. So I've been frontline before, and it's never the person you're talking to's fault, but you have to take the brunt of it, because there isn't anybody else who's going to do what, you're saying. So that person probably was bloody exhausted, sick of saying the same thing, but knew that she couldn't be like that. She had to pretend that it was the first time she was saying the information to the 100th person, and that's horrible. I wouldn't want that job. But at the same time, I definitely wouldn't want that trip either. So, I feel sorry for you too.
I've been frontline, and when somebody was once having a go at me, I said, look, I have no control of this. I don't make the decision. And they said, yeah, but the problem is you're the face of the organisation. Yep, it's true. You are the face of it. So I take my hat off to the the frontline staff, because it must be awful.
Yeah.
I'd like my money back and more.
Yeah.
Because I'm owed quite a lot of money, because the problem you get on the refund is they say, well, tick this box because you're entitled to this amount of money, but you must waiver all further, financial remuneration. I'm like, that is not being ticked. That is not the case. Hence why I ended up getting on Twitter, because there's just been no response to anything. So I'm going to give them probably until Thursday. Yeah. And then I'll be back onto them. So
yeah, definitely don't let up on it. An organisation like that, they can definitely afford to give you the compensation that you deserve. And even if they can't afford it, fuck them.
Well, yeah, they should be dealing with it. They literally have taken customer service and just thrown it out the window for all. And it's not just us.
Yeah.
It's the situation. The worst situation is this. Can you imagine if you have gone out and you've basically thought, right, okay, so I've spent my money on holiday. I'll get on my flight. I'll go home. That's it. I have no other access to funds. What do you do?
Well, yeah, exactly.
You're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it would probably be me in that scenario. You know what I mean? So I tend to, budget for what I need rather than anything extra. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. I may actually change that viewpoint now and actually start budgeting for extra things that might happen. But yeah. So anyway, James, so it sounds like you had a fun trip.
It was. I mean, yes, it's an experience, and I knew that would have a wonderful codswallop, so to speak, to put on the episodes.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's taken up about half an hour's worth of episodes, so it's pretty good going.
It
is. No, I'm just trying to think if I have any codswallop, because I didn't.
But you can't beat that.
No, I can't. Mine are pretty pathetic, actually. Well, actually, one of them was really annoying. There was this one guy who, like the kids' scooters that you get.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a handlebar and it's just like a bar and you've got two wheels on it. Anyway, so this guy decided on a 40-mile-an-hour road, just after a roundabout, shall I say, to come off the roundabout, wheeling on this thing while crouched down. Now, I don't know if he was drunk. I'm assuming he was drunk, but he was sort of going alongside my car, basically. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? What are you doing? That's like the most dangerous thing ever. If I'd have just accidentally swerved slightly, I would have knocked him off.
I'm going to be honest. If he'd been hit by a car, I would honestly be questioning whose fault it is, because he should not have been there at all. What he did was clearly just... God, that's a level of stupidity.
It is.
Darwin Awards.
Darwin Awards. Definitely. You're definitely right there. But I think it wasn't the fact that he was on it and riding it like a normal person. He was crouched down. Like, his head was below the handlebars.
Yeah, moron.
It's an absolute moron.
Moron.
And I just opened my window and went, you twat.
So you're a bit different. I would have asked the question, like, what is wrong with you? And probably thrown some expletives in there as well.
Well, I mean, I just called him a twat. So, that was it. I was just like, twat! As I was driving off.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the most idiotic thing that I've possibly seen in the last sort of 2 weeks or so whatever, sorry. But and my other codswallop is that I got a parking fine. A parking eye has got me again.
Oh dear.
But this time I'm appealing against it, because I was driving and I had a bit of a funny turn with my diabetes, and I was feeling quite rough, so I literally just pulled over to get some food and, because I hadn't eaten, sort of thing, get some food and actually, just calm myself down, because it was getting a little bit bad.
Yes.
If my hearing starts buzzing when I'm having like a hypo, I know that it's kind of like, I really need to like either pull over or I need to sort myself out quick, because that's like the stage just before you could like collapse or whatever.
Wow.
So and touch wood, it's never happened. So, you know, fingers crossed. But yeah, I've actually gone back to them and I've actually appealed it and said that, you know, okay, this was me and this absolutely was me. I didn't see the signs because of the panic that I was going through at the time. As this was a medical emergency, you know, are you happy to sort of waiver it?
Words,
but I haven't heard back from them yet, but that was only like a couple of days ago. But it did say it can take up to 35 days to, you know, look into or whatever. So, so I'm trying to not have to pay that one. I'd rather not. I even wrote, you know, I understand the importance of paying for car parking spaces. And I also do understand that people abuse this, but under these circumstances, it was a genuine medical emergency. So, you know, and to be honest, I didn't even see the signs when I went in or went out, you know, because I was just so relieved when I went out that I'd, you know, managed to catch myself and, you know, I wasn't sort of suffering anymore. But who knows? Who knows?
To be fair, the most important thing is even if you don't, you know, even if you have to pay it, at least you're all right. At least nothing went wrong. So
yeah, it's just 60 quid. I'd rather not pay if that's, you know, possible.
Understandable, but let's be honest, it is better than the other options. So.
Oh, yeah, 100% it is, absolutely. So, so I think that's pretty much it. I think, I think that's pretty much it. There's probably other stuff, but it can wait for another episode.
Yeah.
You know?
I win this episode on Codswallop.
You do. You're the winner chicken dinner.
I didn't want to be the king of the mountain on this one, but it appears I am.
Yeah,
I am the one
absolutely. Absolutely. But, you know, what a story to tell. So I think that's, you know, that's the best part. I mean, should we even bother having a story of the week or should we just leave that until next week?
I think we could leave it to next week. I think it's been that. I think that it has been that eventful. And what I would say, Salty Tadpoles, if you do have any questions or suggestions about resolving the situation or just about how things went down, please do feel free to reach out and ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, we are on social media. So it's at Codswallop Pod. So it's just the name of the, the podcast, obviously. But obviously I run certain accounts. James is on our Facebook account, but, you know, still he'll get the message because I'll copy him in if somebody is directing a message to him or whatever. But, absolutely. Yeah, get in touch. And I've got a little plea as well that I don't know if any, because obviously recently we have had quite a few more Salty Tadpoles listening, which is still blowing my mind, you know, that we're getting lots of people. And it makes me emotional sometimes when I look at it because I go, oh, it feels like we're actually doing, you know, like I know I don't want to say stuff with sort of giving the impression that we don't appreciate the people that have been here since day one, because especially me, I 100% do. But it's the fact that we've got so many more listeners now that I feel like we are actually on the right path, if you know what I mean. And we're getting there, if you know what I mean. And we're getting like maybe the appreciation that we've had before, or should have had.
You're having your Sally Field moment, aren't you, at the Oscars?
I am.
You love me. You love me. You really love me.
I didn't think it would ever happen. No, it's on a serious note though. But if any of you new people are on Podbean, sorry, not on Podbean, the new people that are on Podbean, because obviously that's been where we've had a lot of followers. If any of you, and of course any of the older Salty Tadpoles, you know, the OG Salty Tadpoles, have I've either got YouTube and you fancy going and following us on YouTube at Talking Codswallop Podcast, that would be amazing because, you know, we need to start boosting our numbers. We're doing really well on Twitter and Facebook. You know, we're getting quite a lot of activity there, but with regards to like YouTube and Instagram, we're kind of falling down a little bit, aren't we? Because it's I don't understand Instagram. I know we got to just put a picture up and you do stuff, but no, I don't understand it. And YouTube, I'm really, really clueless about. So if anyone fancies going over there and like maybe subscribing to the podcast, that would be absolutely fantastic. Just gave a thumbs up to a blank screen. And the other thing as well, that, you know, a bit of a cheeky ask as well, that if any of you have like an iTunes account and you fancy popping on and giving us, well, if you want to give us a 5-star review, that would be incredible. I've just given you 2 thumbs up now, and even James can't see it. And, you know, like a text review, that would also be absolutely amazing as well. So it just helps to kind of show people that we're here, if you know what I mean. So, at the same time, though, if you just want to sit here and you want to listen to us and you don't want to participate and you don't want to do all the things I just asked you to do, then that's fine too. I'm not demanding, I'm just requesting. So, yeah, it's all good.
I'm demanding. She's requesting.
Yeah.
You will do this. You'll feel better about yourself. You will do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. No, absolutely. So, well, in that case then, James, I think that we've been talking enough codswallop this week. What do you think? Well, you have.
I think we have. Yeah, I definitely have. Got to rest those golden vocal cords.
You certainly do. You certainly do. Well, in that case then, like I've just said, I think that we've been talking enough codswallop this week. I have been Gemma.
I've been James.
And bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.